the live stream going, and my name is Moshe, and I'm coming to you from Israel in the Galilee on the 25th of March. And what is it today? Wednesday. And it's about 7:50 in the morning. And I'm looking at the weather, and basically, Israel's going to have rain forever and ever and ever. It's never going to stop. No. Uh, It's a tremendous amount of rain almost every day for the next 10 days. It's just horrible. It's miserable. We're cold. We're damp. The houses are cold. We're not happy one bit, but we need the water. And the desalinization plants are very likely going to be taken out over the Middle East, throughout the Middle East. And we're going to have tons of water. Plus, all the land is getting watered now. So there's going to be, for a good period of time, there'll be a diminished need for artificial irrigation because the land will be full of water. There are some mountains like Kermon and Saith that the water will be up on and over weeks run down and wind up in the Sea of Galilee. The other thing is that you will likely find encouraging is there's going to be a lot of more people here pretty soon. So we need more water. Yes, the prophecies are getting fulfilled, but the majority of people can't see it. Okay, but we'll illuminate you again more today. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you what Trump is really doing. And it's pretty pathetic. It's the same old story. And why Israel and America can't really win this war with Iran unless they demolish the infrastructure in Iran. I mean, no electricity, the railroads, the bridges, the tunnels, the ports, the piers, the airport, everything's got to be dismantled. So you can't live there. That's the only way they're going to get anywhere with this. That's it. That's it. Where I'm going to break down to you what, based on news leaks collected from different media, what the consensus is on Trump's 15-point ceasefire peace plan with Iran. We don't know, but about 14 of those 15 points, we think. Everybody's in pretty good agreement that it's going to include a 30-day ceasefire while negotiations continue. And this is Trump's creation. Now, that is only going to be attractive to Iran to rebuild, to refortify some of their missile cities that got damaged, which is very few, that got significantly damaged. Produce more missiles, get more stuff in from China and Russia, and get ready to make a bigger fight against us. And that's what Trump's going to let them do, because he's not real bright, and he's dirty, and he's underhanded, and he's sneaky, and he'll betray you, and he's treacherous, but he doesn't have that high of an IQ, no. Him and Netanyahu made a mistake, and they won't admit it. And now they're trying to get out of it, and they're not getting out of it. They can't destroy the missile cities, and they can't destroy the nuclear sites unless they made a concerted effort with those, what are they, 50,000-pound bombs or something, and they just started dropping those like crazy on each site. But they might have to drop 10 or 12 on a site to get it to really collapse, or maybe 20. And how many of those things do they have? And, how many sites, the nuclear sites is probably 9 or 10. So if they got let's be conservative, 15 bunker busters, you need 150 bunker busters. They don't have them. I don't believe they do. Okay. One of their missile cities that was fortified, which is probably not fortified as much as the nuclear sites, there were 250 to 300 regular bombs dropped on it until it got destroyed. They can't get them, okay? And we'll go through that with you. And they can't stop the missile launches. You got to get that, okay? They should have stopped this years ago. When they saw Iran starting to build the missile cities, they should have went in and attacked them. When they had 3 or 4 missile cities, they could have taken care of it with bunker buster bombs, but no, they're too stupid. All these leaders are so corrupt and so rich. They don't want wars. They want to go out and buy Rolls Royces and Rolexes and eat the best foods and hang out with the other world leaders and impress themselves with how great they have it. And, that's all they want to do. They don't want to go out and fight a war. All right. I'm going to go check the live stream now and make sure we got a live stream. Well, I got to see if we got sound. Oh, we got plenty of sound. We got plenty of sound. Let's see if people are coming in. I can't make this thing do what I need it to do. Yeah. All right. Thank you to the moderators. They really help. I'm going to put a quick post up. It's probably going to take seconds. And let's see if I got any typos. No typos. Let's put this up. I'll pin it. And it's pinned. And being a Bible-believing site, Old and New Testament, I'm going to do some praise, and you could join in if you want to. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. So I got to think about how to do this. Probably the way to, let's just let a little groundwork before we get into it. I don't know who Trump is negotiating with, and nobody else seems to know either. The guys that are running Iran, now what do I mean running Iran? They're controlling the missile launches, and they're running the show, okay? They're the ones that have the Straits of Hormuz closed. They're the ones who are pushing the launch buttons on the missiles. Okay. They're the ones who are making the press releases about who they're going to attack next. Okay. And they're saying Trump is not negotiating with them. They're not negotiating with Trump. Some Arab media is saying that Trump is sending proposals and negotiation letters and things like that to the Iranians. And they have not responded to him at all. And they may or may not. They said they have no reason to negotiate with him. As it stands now, they're likely going to cause much more trouble in the world. And I don't know how Trump's going to stop them. But what I'm going to do is actually give you a lot of details about how these missile cities work and stuff like that. But first, let's get the prayer requests done. The first prayer request is for SS, Sierra Sierra, SS Sierra Sierra. This iPad garbage spun around on me. Hold on. Boy, have I grown to hate iPads. Okay. SS. So pray for SS for healing from an embolism. It's serious. Okay. SS healing from an embolism, and pray for DS Delta Sierra, DS Delta Sierra, the wife, to have the ability to get through this. Okay? All right. SS needs the healing, and DS is the wife and needs the strength, ability, grace, and so forth to get through this. Okay? All right. Next is a healing prayer for GB, Girl Bravo. GB, Girl Bravo, GB. Want to pray for healing. This is a serious disease. It's very serious. Pray for GB for healing and comfort, no pain, so forth. Okay? GB, Girl Bravo. All right. Those are, I already prayed for these, so I'm not doing it again. So these are the two prayer requests that I have today. Trump and Israel are blowing up the entrances to the missile cities in Iran. And Iran comes back and fixes them in 48 hours, and then they could function again. This idea is not effective. The mobile missile launches are basically on a truck like a Peterbilt, a Mack, something like that, with a trailer, and they tow the missile launcher. Iran has facilities built into the side of mountains or built into the bottom of the mountain, and they got hundreds of feet of rock and dirt over this facility, and they dig themselves a big tunnel or a cave or whatever you want to call it. It's a tunnel, and it can easily handle 40-foot trailers. It's wider than a 40-foot trailer, and it's a lot higher. A lot. No problem. So the operators drive the missile launchers into these various tunnels and mountains, right? Where they're safe. You can't bomb them. And then when they want to launch, they drive out of the tunnel. They don't have to go very far. Maybe they go 100, 200, 300 yards. They have the missile all warmed up, ready to go inside the tunnel. They drive it out. They get the aiming completed. How long does that take? A few minutes. Nobody knows the missile's there that quickly. Then they turn the radar on or whatever, and they fire the missile. And then as soon as the missile leaves the launcher, they pack up and go back inside the tunnel. So it's very difficult to get these launches and blow them up. You have to, like, by happenstance, just happen to have a plane in the air that sees it, or they make a mistake and turn the radar on and stay there too long, and you can fire missiles at it. We figured 70% of them were destroyed, but now they got smart. And they probably have in the vicinity of 150, at least 120. And that number is going down not at all or extremely slowly. They're learning. The missile cities are basically not penetrable. You can't destroy them. Okay, this is the problem. Netanyahu and Trump together can't stop the missile launches. Now, Trump is bringing something like 6,000 troops into the Middle East. Some are here already, and others will be here like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. Now they're getting ready to send another 3,000 soldiers to the Middle East. So that would bring us up to about 9,000. And these 3,000, we're thinking what we're hearing is the 82nd Airborne. Now, you got to understand, guys, if you're going to go into Iran on the ground and conquer Iran and occupy it, I don't think 300,000 troops would be enough. It might be enough for some jerk to try it, but I don't think it would be enough. I think when you get to 500, 700,000, you're getting into the realm of reality of conquering and occupying. Okay? What Trump is thinking of doing is occupying Karg Island, which is 15 miles off the coast of mainland Iran in the Straits of Hormuz. 90% of the Iranian oil is processed there. Ships pull up to Karg Island The oil is coming from pipelines into massive storage tanks in Carg Island. And they fill up the ships from there and the ships leave. Now, we're hearing the Iranians booby-trapped Carg Island. We don't know. Probably. That means if they try to do an airborne landing, they're going to have a lot of casualties. The way you booby trap it is not with punji stakes like the Vietnamese did. They're various kinds of explosives, okay, that are concealed and people blow them up by mistake and kill themselves. That would be a very big job to go find all the booby traps. It's a job that could take a month. They could clean a certain area out. And just keep everybody in that area, but that's very restrictive. What Trump has not accounted for is the Iranians firing missiles into Carg Island when it's full of thousands of American soldiers. Some of the missiles would definitely get through. Also drones. This is a nightmare for the American troops. And I don't know how Trump attempts, how is he going to deal with this? For 3 weeks, he hasn't been able to shut the missiles off. Middle Eastern countries like UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, their airports are closed. They're so damaged. That would mean they're not getting anything in on the airport, right? Nothing. There's no flights. Airport closed, nothing going out, nothing coming in. Got it? Okay. I'm rather certain it would be Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, possibly Oman, and Saudi Arabia. Jordan seems to be getting by. Jordan doesn't sell oil outside of Jordan, so they're not that interested in Jordan. The Iranians are trying to cause an energy crisis, and they're doing a good job. And they think that will bring the West to their knees and give them a very good deal. Trump is thinking that he's got them scared on the run, and they're going to give him a very good deal. That ain't never going to happen. I told you this, and the only way Trump's going to get anywhere here with these missile cities and Netanyahu, Israel, us, is to kill the infrastructure in Iran and basically make life unlivable. Trump has no interest in that because he wants to be the world's oil czar and put sanctions on countries if they don't listen to him. Instead of going to war, he cuts their oil off. Okay? And with the Venezuela oil, and if he gets the Iranian oil, and he's controlling the other countries inside the Middle East with their prices and how much production they're going to do, he could control the world. Remember, the United States has a lot of production too. So there's definitely some countries that will go against them, like, Canada and stuff like that. But right now you have an oil crisis in like Sri Lanka, Australia. The Asia region has a lot of problems. India is, when you look at videos of what's going on with people going to buy gas, there's mobs of people at the gas stations. This is not people trying to get gas to save $1 a gallon or $1 a liter. This is people trying to get gas because they need gas. So is there a gas crisis in play right now? Yes, not so much in Europe. Europe's got a few weeks to go. They might make it a month, but they're on the way. And America probably won't make it. They'll stay okay. But remember, America's under attack. The Port Arthur thing got attacked twice already in the last few weeks, that's 10, 15 days. And the pipeline for LNG, they've been attacking LNG in America. That got attacked. The pipeline got exploded. All within about a 10-day period. So let's not call that a coincidence and be stupid. Trump's ignoring it because he has nothing constructive to say about it. Trump made his announcement about negotiations with Iran going well, and the prices of oil came down, not a lot, a little bit. They stopped going up. That was the big thing. Okay. Brent is a little over like 101, 102, 3, something like that, and WTI is high 90s, 98, 99 in that area. That's what's going on. Let's see what the average price at the pump is in America. I don't know if it's at $4 or anything. Let's take a look. I haven't checked it in days. But I'm rather sure it's not at a critical level. Average price of gasoline now in the United States. It's about $4, $3.90 to $3.95 per gallon. California's the worst at $5.50. The cheapest states are down to $3.20 and $3.30 a gallon. That is very far from the danger level, believe me. The danger level is, I'm sure, over $6. More like $7 or $8, and people start freaking out. It's not anywhere near critical mass in America. In other countries, to make myself clear, it's not so much the price, it's you can't get it. They started rationing already. It started in some countries. And it's being, they're on an alert in other countries, and they're probably going to have to do it, because if you tell the people, conserve your gas, they're going to ignore it. As long as they can buy gas, they're going to go get gas. So. The middle of this with Trump, America said they're planning for weeks-long operation to reopen the Straits of Hormuz. And we, Israel, struck Tehran last night. Iran fired 10 missile salvos on Sunday. Well, we covered that previously. They, last night, were firing missiles at Israeli troops in Lebanon. Actually, no. They actually tried to, I think that, and they also tried to take out the American embassy or consulate in Beirut. But we took everything out with our missile defense systems. It didn't cover much. We're going to be occupying the land from the border of Israel to the Litani River for a while, maybe indefinitely. But, the Lebanese are not capable of stopping bloodthirsty Hezbollah lunatics to come in there and launch missiles to kill men, women, and children, civilians. So we got to do something. And since they can't do it, we got to do it. Well, what are we supposed to do? Put up with their incompetence, that they're creating human shields out of crazy terrorists, psychiatric cases? No, we're not going to do that. Oh, Bahrain is belly aching to the UN Security Council that they got to do something to open up the Straits of Hormuz, and there's not much they're going to be able to come up with because of the veto power. So it's really not going to go anywhere. The UN is a worthless agency because of that veto power, I would say. Okay. The Iranians said to Trump that if you attack our grid, we're going to attack the grids in the Middle East region, and we're going to hit the desalination plants, which means drinking water is going to be scarce, and these people, a week of that, they're going to have to leave the country. Or die of dehydration. Russia and China have permanent veto power in the UN, like America and Great Britain, and they'll not let anything go on that's really going to hurt Iran. America has just started attacking a lot of targets in Iraq. So, like the prophecies coming true, Elam in Jeremiah 49, starting in verse 34, the end of the chapter, is Iran, likely Iraq, part of Syria, maybe Syria. And when you look at it, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Oman have no biblical names in the Bible, so they would be part of Iraq or Iran. They would fit into this, probably as part of Iraq or Syria or something. So they would fit in to the prophecy, and that's why they're getting destroyed. And the prophecy says it's so bad they have to leave their country and they get scattered into every other country around the world. Iraq has opened up what they call popular mobilization. They're approving these defense forces in Iraq to defend themselves and the country. So they said, go do what you got to do to protect yourself and your country, which is Iraq. There's not a lot they could do about air attacks, but anything on the ground they can do a lot about. The Iraqi people, their news and so forth, are claiming that the American army is launching missiles from Kuwait into Iran. Okay, the Iraqis are saying America is launching missiles from Kuwait into Iran. So that means that Iran's going to want to put a heavy punishment on Kuwait for letting America do that. But they've already put a heavy punishment on Kuwait. So, like their airports closed, they're not producing LNG and gas like they used to. Perhaps not at all. They're in bad shape. The fact that Kuwait is on the border of Iran, I believe, could mean ground forces could try to come in or something like that. America won't like that, but I don't know what they're going to do about it. Iran stopped exporting LNG to Turkey after an Israeli attack hit the South Pars gas field, one of the country's main energy sources. They're afraid of running low, so they're trying to keep it for themselves and then a few others, I guess. So we're going to hold this security zone buffer zone in Lebanon up to the Litani River, probably indefinitely. Okay, we think that Iran has now at least 1,000 missiles, okay, left. That was yesterday, Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, but I got this on Tuesday. The amount of launchers is at least 120, probably 140 or 150, okay? It's, there's a lot. There was bad estimations about how many missiles they have at the onset of the war. Like I'm telling you, they screwed themselves up with this one big time. So Iran has several missile types. They have what's called the short SRBM, short range ballistic missile, that goes 300 to 1,000 kilometers. So it goes about 180 to 600 miles. Some of these are called the Fatah, the Zoltagar, and the Shahab, if that means anything to you. These missiles are useful for them to attack Iraq, the Gulf states, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, all that, right? And nearby military bases, predominantly America, UK, and the Arab states. These missiles they have a pretty large amount of, and they're easy to fire. Then we escalate to medium range ballistic missiles, MRBMs. And these have ranges of 1,000 to 3,000 kilometers. Well, so you're looking here at 600 to 1,800 miles. They call one of them the Shahab 3. Another one is the Imad, and then there's the Shadir and the Siji. Those are the main missiles that are used, and we did find out they can hit out to 4,000 kilometers, which is 2,400 miles. Now, these missiles, leaving out the 4,000 kilometer one, they can reach all the way down to Eilat in Israel, they can reach to Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and parts of Europe. And the 4,000 kilometers get even deeper into Europe. So this is the mistakes that Israel and America made going into this thing. And as I'm going to demonstrate to you momentarily, explain to you why they really screwed up with the missile cities and these mobile missile launchers hiding in places that they can't attack. So they're stymied by this, and they're afraid that they're going to take a lot of losses. And they will. It looks that way. Okay. They have more advanced missiles like hypersonics. They got cluster warheads, although those are not really that troublesome. Some of you are going to ask, and I'll tell you right now, they have no ability to hit the United States from Iran. They have the ability to hit the United States, as we've seen in the attacks on the energy in the Gulf and Texas, using drones launched off of ships and probably as well missiles. The missile launch is likely going to be detected in the Gulf, but the drone launch likely not to be detected. If they start launching, drone swarms of 20, 30 drones, then I would have to say the chances of it getting picked up by flight radar or Navy radar, is rather high, I would think. But if they just launch, one and then 15 minutes launch another and stuff like that, well, it's probably going to work for them. So they did manage to cause pretty substantial damage at these places. So there were also surveillance and military installations with drones in America. All of this is scaring Trump. Okay? Trump's saying, oh no, what did I get myself into? And what Trump is doing, unfortunately, he's looking at this like he bought a gambling casino hotel. And after 2 or 3 years, he can't make it make money. So he tries to sell it. So what he's doing here is he realizes he can't get ahead on this deal. So he wants to cut his losses, get it, whatever money he can out of it, and just go away. And we got a lot of their launches, 70%. We really did, but then they got smart and they're conserving what they have left. So they were sending large barrages off in the early, first week or 10 days of the war, and now it's reduced itself because they don't want to expose too many launches at one time. So with us, with Israel, they're using Hezbollah in Lebanon to take up the slack and attack us heavily. And I suspect what they're doing is keeping the Houthis in Yemen in reserve. So when we bust out Hezbollah, they'll have the Houthis start attacking us. Their accuracy was improving, and as of late, the last 3 days or so, Israel did maybe 2 days, 3 days. Israel is managing to get a very high takedown rate again or an interception rate. So we made some adjustments in our system too, and we're more effective now. So they're not causing much damage at all, but it's still a royal pain in the neck. They're telling us that Iran doesn't have capability to overwhelm our defenses anymore. And I have not seen them overwhelm our defenses, so I would think that's a correct statement. So these are the things facing Netanyahu and Trump that went bad for them. Some of them, we didn't get into the missile cities yet. Hold on. So Iran still has many hundreds of missiles, up to perhaps over 1,000 missiles. And the real problem is for Iran is what do they have in launchers? And they got a lot, considering, they got at least 120, maybe 140 or even 150 working launchers. And that's a big, bad problem. They have made, I don't know they probably just could estimate what kind of progress they made, but they have destroyed missile manufacturing facilities more than once in Iran. So the amount of new missiles that Iran can generate has definitely been reduced, but we don't know the numbers. I mean, we might think they had 5 factories and they had 9. We don't know. So we don't have that great of intel. Now we'll discuss the missile launch sites, which is extremely important that you understand this. And this is the big failure and why Trump is, what I would say, is in a snare, which is in Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 24. How many fortified missile sites do we have? Do they have? Well, the consensus of the experts, blah, 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 is 20 to 30 major fortified missile sites with long-range capability, like hitting Israel and Europe. 20 to 30. Now, these are the ones that are going to shoot the big long-range missiles I'm talking about. Now, for shorter work, like hitting Karg Island, or Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, they have dozens of other sites that are spread about that are going to shoot the lesser missiles, which is all they need to hit these countries. Now, there's potentially hundreds of underground storage launch tunnel networks, whatever the heck that means. So they're loaded with tunnels, but their tunnels are much better than Hamas. Hamas was building tunnels and trying to keep it sort of quiet, although you're not going to tell me Netanyahu didn't know they built this network of tunnels. And the Iranians have nobody to hide from, so they built a heck of a network. So the big primary fortified strategic missile bases that could do long-range work is about 25 of them. So there's more sites running around too that are probably not as fortified, not as sophisticated. So Iran made these sites and they made them tough as nails so they could take all kinds of attacks. And the only thing the Iranians can't, protect against is their general infrastructure, their citizens and stuff like that. They can't, they don't have the wherewithal and the devices to defend them. These missile cities are buried in mountains. They used to hide and move mobile missile launches in and out. They take them out from inside a mountain onto hundreds of feet of rock and dirt, fire the missile, and go back in this tunnel in the mountain where they're not vulnerable to any type of attack. The only type of attack that they really are vulnerable to is called boots on the ground. If ground soldiers come up to that site, they could do things to the site. Like what? Well, blow it up theoretically. Let's say they had a 26-foot truck, with them, and it was just packed with thousands of pounds of explosives. It's their mistake, and Israel's paying for it, guys, and the whole Middle East is. But that's God's plan. Now you got to get this down. One of these missile launch sites, one called Haji Abad, had at least 7 hardened, fortified launch positions in that one missile city. So they had 7 launchers going on. Okay. That's why the missiles aren't stopping. And that's why Trump is going nuts. There's at least 5 of these serious underground fortified missile sites that are talked about in the news, but there's more other than that. There's probably 25 or 30 or some figure like that. Okay. They also have hardened surface launch pads. Okay. This is not built into a mountain. This is fortified on the surface with reinforced concrete, lots and lots and many, many feet of reinforced concrete. And these launch pads can be numerous on the one particular launch site or base, if you will, could have a handful of these fortified launch pads that you're probably going to be able to destroy if you start using a lot of bunker buster bombs, which Trump's not completely high about doing. Uh, okay, going through this, guys, we're going to get into some really juicy stuff in a little bit, but let's just get all this done. So again, Iran started with 4 to 450 launchers. They're down to someplace 120, 150. I like the number 140, someplace in there. 25 major fortified missile launch bases, 20 to 30 confirmed large launch sites above ground, and dozens more smaller sites, and hundreds of underground tunnel facilities that could be used for various purposes, hiding materials, people, troops, equipment, trucks, launchers, whatever. If the launchers are destroyed, the base is useless. So far, they're not doing a great job with that. They knocked off the low hanging fruit with the launchers, and now they're stuck. Okay. Fragments from the interceptors we were using up in Lebanon have, like around North Beirut, have been hitting houses and causing light injury and, light damage and stuff like that. So that's another great, other mess that's going on, because the idea is not to kill the Lebanese people. Nobody's trying to do that, just the Hezbollah. There was an interception with the shrapnel, by the way, that was carried out by what's called a foreign Navy vessel. So America has a destroyer or a missile cruiser near Lebanon, and it saw these missiles from Iran coming in, trying to hit their embassy and hit our soldiers in Lebanon. And it took it down, and it caused the shrapnel. To be completely fair, our interceptor missiles cause shrapnel too. A lot of the shrapnel is not our missiles, it's the object we blew up, the Iranian missile. The bigger the missile, the more shrapnel you're going to get. We don't try to evaporate the missile in air unless, we're using maybe the iron beam laser, but even that doesn't do it. Our missiles get close to the incoming bogey and blow up, and shrapnel goes into the incoming missile and makes it not function, and then it blows up and breaks up into pieces, and you could get big chunks coming down. That's why we blow the sirens all over Israel, to get the people off the streets. You just don't want the people walking around the street or in a car. If you're going to be in a car and you're going to get a piece of shrapnel like this, the car's probably going to do you a lot of good. If you're going to get a piece of shrapnel like this, it's probably going to go through the car. It just depends, So Iran is trying to kill our soldiers in Lebanon with missiles, and they said they're going to also try to do that in Gaza. So rest assured, they will kill people in Gaza. Not us, probably. Maybe some soldiers, but I'm expecting not. But they're going to kill civilians because they're idiots. So I'm giving you the problems with they're having fighting the war, but we're going to get into the juicy stuff momentarily. Trump is saying they gave us a big present worth tremendous amount of money if it arrived today. Now, this is all unfounded by the Iranians. So, number one, why would the Iranians negotiate with Trump while him and Israel are attacking them? This is atypical for them. They normally don't do it. Are they in such bad shape, so desperate that now they'll do it? Maybe. I have to say maybe. They are in bad shape. Trump said it'll take them 10 years to rebuild their country. And it's getting worse by the day. And for all they know, they know Netanyahu is absolutely in favor of destroying the electrical grid in Iran. Not a little bit, but like where the electrical generators are, there should be 30-foot deep craters. That's what Netanyahu wants when he says destroy it. There's nothing left to rebuild. You got to start over. Oh, then Trump elaborates and says this present was oil and gas related. You see, what's going on here, if anything, first thing, look, what's going on here is likely nothing. Trump is just barking, okay? And is he sending proposals to the Iranians? Oh, probably. That's the report that people that I think know what they're doing and picking up from the Arabs. Yeah, but that's as far as it goes. And the Arabs are saying, yeah, they're sending stuff over, but nobody's responding to it. So what good is it? And that's what the Iranians are saying. We're not responding to them. Why should we negotiate with them? They're attacking us. They don't want it. So what's the plan for the Iranians? They want to see the sanctions from America and the snapback sanctions from the UN and all the sanctions go away. They want to be able to go back, stay in charge of Iran, not have any restrictions on them regarding nuclear material or missiles. Go back, get the oil sold again, which is going to be at higher prices, like now, $80, $90. So instead of selling for 60, 65, they'll sell for 95. Okay, that's a lot of extra money. 50% more. That helps them rebuild quicker. And they're also looking for war reparations because they need money. They've got to buy aircraft. They've got to buy boats. They got to buy heavy equipment. It's absurd. They're busted up. They're busted out, okay? But they're not. They could still fight and attack. And Trump is petrified. When he announced this plan of a ceasefire peace deal, the price of oil went right back down. He's scared. If it gets to $200, you're going to see panic. I mean, let's say it's almost $4 in America now. At 200, it's $8 a gallon. Okay? There's a lot of people in America that go to work, okay, and they're going to burn, 4 or 5 gallons a day. This is not unusual, okay? Especially in the summer with the air conditioners, especially with SUVs, pickup trucks, and stuff like that, okay? And large cars, they're going to burn a lot. So if you're talking 5 gallons a day at $8, that's $40. That's $800 a month. Plus insurance, plus your stickers, plus wear and tear on the car, plus the car payments if you got payment, or people are going to start collapsing. A lot of people have 2 cars. They're going to go, well, what the heck is this? Now, the guy making $190,000 a year is going to just suck it up and pay it. But somebody making $80,000 a year isn't in such a great position to do that. Now, America can keep the gas prices reasonable, I believe. But jet fuel doubled already, and that hasn't stopped. So that's going to cause airline tickets to go up. But the kiss of death economically here is the rising gas prices affect everything you buy. Whatever you buy, it comes on a ship, ships use diesel. They probably burn a gallon every 5 or 10 feet. Maybe a little ship, 20 feet. A big ship, maybe 3 or 4 feet. They burn a gallon. Airplanes, burning gas, right? Trucks, burning gas. Trains, burning gas. What moves without using gas? Nothing. Unless you're talking, oh, they might have a few electric vehicles here and there doing it. But the electricity generation is not always tied to gas. There's nuclear power plants, but it's not going to make such a great exception. All right, so the economy is weak in America, and if Trump doesn't fix it, the economy will be horrific in America. So Trump could be just playing the violin and making up stuff to manipulate the market. Now, I was told in one time, just before Trump came out with the announcement, there was a massive amount of people shorting the market. Shorting means you make money when the prices drop, and then the prices dropped. They bought in short positions just hours before Trump made an announcement and dropped the market prices. So that seems to me like it was corruption. Let me lay it out for you a little better, like the previous regimes would say. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So Trump knew he had to do this, so why not call his friends up and let them make a few $100 million? Did he do anything to help you? Remember, he said he was going to send people money to help the economy, $2,000 checks. No, it never came. Trump would roll over and die before he helped the poor people. You think I'm kidding? You don't know. You don't know. Okay. The crazy thing on top of that is Trump is running around saying the war in Iran has already been won. Do you know that's delirious? I mean, if the safest thing for you people in America is if Trump is just making this up and knows he's making it up to buy time. Trump is trying to buy time for something. What do we think that something is? Well, probably has something to do with getting more aircraft carriers here, getting more bunker buster bombs manufactured, and getting more ground forces here. That's what I suspect he's up to. Okay? I think he wants to run with 3 aircraft carriers. He's on 1 right now, and I know that's unacceptable. He would need 2 at least. But I think all right, let's give him 2. The Gerald Ford just got to Crete for repairs. It ain't coming back today or tomorrow. It's probably going to be there a week or 10 days or something like that. In addition, the sailors need time to recover. They got burns. Now, burns, there's burns and there's burns, So some of them, I think most of them probably got offloaded in Crete, and they're flying them to probably Ramstein or someplace in Europe where they got a good burn unit, and they'll treat them. Now, some of the guys, if they're seriously burned, they'll have to do grafts, and that's elaborate. They might send them to America for that, or they might keep them in Europe. It's hard to say. There is a hospital ship there's talk it might move to the Middle East, but I understand as of about a day ago, it's still anchored in America. It hasn't left. Would the Iranians attack a hospital ship? Oh, sure. They're bloodthirsty. They would think it's wonderful to blow the people up. Now, Trump runs around. Let me tell you about Trump. Oh, we love the people of Iran and we want them to take over and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, when you cut the grid, let's see. What are we going to do with the people on life support in the hospitals when the generators run out and they die? Oh, Oh, well. You see, that's Trump, right? The the people of Iran have been a disappointment to Netanyahu and Trump. I tell you the truth. They are not, they don't got what it takes to take over. And that's prophecy. It's not going to happen. Now, I told you this at onset, and I'll say it again. You might see brief interludes in this process of destroying Elam. You may see some sort of peace negotiation thing happen for a week or two or a month even or something, and then it'll just resume. Okay? Trump's not finished with them. Why Trump wants that? Oil. Trump wants to get rid of Iran and BRICS and selling the oil off the dollar and hurting America that way. He doesn't want that. He wants to get rid of that. And the only way you can get rid of that is to get rid of the mullahs. And how is he going to do that? What Netanyahu would tell Trump, which I would say is probably true, is making a deal with the mullahs is a waste of time. They're just going to break it. You're getting nowhere. And then Trump may turn around and say, yeah, but I got to buy time. My guys at the Pentagon need a month. Oh, well, okay, then let's do it. We'll negotiate with them and then blow it up. And, why would they need a month? Well, right now, it seems to be idiotic to move several thousand Expeditionary Force Marines, 6,000, whatever, to Karg Island in Iran because they will get killed, I think. How? Are the Iranians going to come with rifles and storm it? No, they can't do that because Trump will send, 50, 80 planes up there to blow up whatever troops try to do it. They'll just get destroyed. No, they'll get missiles launched. Israel and Trump can't knock out the missile launch sites. So they'll have missile launchers that could easily hit Karg from various parts of Iran. But, they got, so maybe it's instead of a 60, 90-mile shot, it's 290 miles or 400. They can do it. They got that range. They can do it. And they just start dropping missiles onto Karg Island and putting nice, 2,000-pound warheads on them. And what are the guys going to do? How long does it take to build fortified shelters to stay immune? Well, you could bring prefab shelters in that are above ground. I don't know what happens if you get a direct hit. Probably bad things, but what they can do. They can put the shelter in, and then what they do is they take metal pipes and they go up. Maybe they put one on each corner and one in the middle of each side, and it goes up maybe 25 feet or 18 feet or something like that. And it has metal laced like this. Probably maybe quarter-inch steel bars up there or something. So the missile's going to come down and hit the shelter. When it hits the cover over the missile, it's going to detonate, okay? Because the missile doesn't know. It thinks it hit its target. So these are not missiles that are penetrators that are going to burrow in. These things are going to blow up on contact. So it's going to come in, it's going to hit that metal, it's going to blow up, and it's going to be 8 or 10 feet away from the roof of the shelter. What does that mean? That means the strength or the power of the blast from the missile probably went down by 75% or more even. So what is it going to do? It's basically going to shake the shelter, which is usually quite heavy. I don't know how much it'll shake, not much. And shrapnel will hit the shelter and put, divots in it, and that's it. So that's what they do. They use this concept on tanks. When they park tanks and they don't want the tanks getting hit by missiles and artillery and stuff, they set these things up. They build them actually on the tank. So when the tank moves, it has it. So anything coming down from above on it doesn't work. Now that's the weakest part of the tank, the hatch going in, the top, the turret. The strongest parts of the tank are probably the bottom and the sides and the front and the rear. That's where your shoulder-fired anti-tank missiles will be hitting. They got this concept where they'd shoot a missile, it would go up and then come down on the tank, shoulder-fired stuff. So they started putting these steel mesh things on the top of the tank. So they could do the same thing with a bomb shelter, I'm thinking. They might not start with that. They'd probably just start with the bomb shelter and think it'd be pretty hard for the thing to get hit. So what they would have to do is probably build bomb shelters, prefab them maybe the size of mobile homes, and, bring 80 or 90 of them in there so guys could run in there. And if one gets a direct hit, that if it's a big warhead, it's going to probably cause damage to people inside. And then they would try to modify after that. That could be it. If it lands nearby and shrapnel comes, it's probably not going to do any harm to the people. The thing would have to be about that thick, I guess. But shrapnel doesn't penetrate. It just makes divots, it just shings off a little. It doesn't do much. Unless you get a big piece, like a great big chunk, then it could make a hole in a roof or something like that. But probably wouldn't penetrate in and hit the people inside. So will they be able to protect their people with these shelters? Yeah, probably to the tune of giving them 80-90% protection. But do they have them, and can they ship them over here, and can they put enough of them in there for 6,000 people? The other thing they could try doing is digging down and putting shelters in underground. But how do you dig down in a very small island in the ocean? I don't think you can go down that deep. You can get water. That doesn't sound too good to me. So whatever they do, it looks like they're going to be without defense. They might have anti-missile systems to defend themselves. That's what they're going to have. They're not going to have good shelters. I don't know what the guys are going to do. See, anybody you talk to that understands this is saying the same thing. Trump's going to slaughter these soldiers if he puts them there. Is he trying to do that so he can get Congress to go to war against Iran? No, I don't think so. I don't think the Pentagon wants to see anything like that happen. So maybe the soldiers are not really going to Clark Island. Where the heck are they going? Trump, now this I give you maybe a 30% chance, because Trump is saying that he's negotiating with people. He's not saying who they are, and he's implying they're not the mainstream, or I don't know. He might have a bunch of people that he is negotiating with that want to overthrow the government, and they take control, and then they make this sweetheart deal with Trump with the oil and all of that. And yeah, that could be the case, but Trump's still got to overthrow the existing government, and that's no mean feat. So what is the most likely thing Trump is doing is just making stories up just so he doesn't get accused of completely outlandish insanity. He's sending proposals to the Iranians, knowing they're not going to answer. And he's driving the prices down, and he needs a little bit of time, probably just to get the soldiers here. Remember, he came up with a 5-day thing. So just to get the soldiers to come over here And then he's probably going to go after the grid, and his thinking could be correct. It could be that when the grid's out, these missile launches are going to go, they're going to run out of electricity quickly because they run on the grid, and the generators will maybe work or not work, and it may be easier to take out the generators, or I don't know what he's doing, but he might be thinking that it will cut down the ability of Iran to launch and kill the soldiers on Karg Island. And then if he gets Karg Island, he has the control of Iranian oil. 90% of it, Iran's got no oil industry, and he didn't destroy the oil. He's sitting on it. That's what I think he's doing. Will it work? No. What will work? Well, destroying the infrastructure of Iran, that will work, because then it won't be livable. But in the meantime, if you don't, look, we don't know what's going to happen when you shut the grid off in Iran, the whole country. It may shut down his missile system, or it may not. They may run on generators for weeks. I think the only way you're going to know is try it. See what happens. If he could cut down the missile launch capability, then he could do some things. But if he can't, he's got to destroy the infrastructure and just wreck the country. Now, is God using this oil crisis to destroy the nations in whole or in part, as per Jeremiah 30, verse 11? It looks so. It looks like it, because when the fuel shortages really hit, the nations are going to fall apart. Without fuel, you're going to get famine. You're going to get no water, no plumbing, everything. You're going to collapse. See, Schmuckin, Satan, built these nations. That's why God wants to get rid of them. They're all full of idols, and look at us, how great we are. Oh, we built this, like Tarzan. We built this big city. So he's going to destroy all the nations because they're all dedicated to Satan. And then, we get the new heaven and the new earth when Yeshua appears, but they're cooked. When Yeshua appears, they're already cut off the earth by Jehovah. And, they're goners, the bad ones, not in the whole world, but in Israel anyway. So, and the Middle East area where we can move into our land and so forth. So anyway, yeah, this might be a way of destroying the nations, part of it or it. But it doesn't say he kills all the people, he kills the heathen nations. You got to remember that. Jeremiah 30, verse 11, and Isaiah 40, and Jeremiah 46, verse 28. You're not hearing that anywhere else because the survivalists are so conflicted over this thing. They want to see Trump win. They want to see it. But it ain't happening. And they got no hope for replacing Trump. There's no replacements in sight, nothing. Is it possible that at the end of the 5 days, which would be Friday, what's today, Wednesday, or maybe he waits till Saturday, and then he says, well, they're not responding. There's no negotiations operating. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And I don't know. I hope we don't see Trump make phony ceasefire deals with Iran. We had Israel do that with Netanyahu back 2009 or 10 or something like that. He's nuts, So they were saying that, Netanyahu, we never saw anything like this. Netanyahu was making ceasefires with himself. This was regarding Hamas, and Hamas was continuing to launch, even though Netanyahu was telling everybody that we had a ceasefire, which we didn't have. He was making up, he was presenting them with ceasefires and operating like it was real to get the people in Israel to calm down. And he probably gave Trump this idea, and Trump is making ceasefires with himself. And he's implying that there's some phantom people in Iran that he's negotiating with. But who are they? I mean, they don't control the military. What's the point of them? And he's now saying the war in Iran has been won. Is he going to say he made a ceasefire and pull out? Nah, it's stupid. They're going to keep shooting missiles and laugh at him. No. What happened in the United States with in Port Arthur, 2 incidences around there in Texas, plus the pipeline getting exploded, is scaring Trump too, because that could wreck his oil supply in America. Then America's in the jackpot. You see, Daughter of Babylon is on its way down. Trust me, this is the stages of it. So the Trump 15-point plan, what do we know about this? Well, we know that we believe we know what the 14 points are. This isn't me talking. This is the media from leaks and people in the know and stuff like that. I'll read them to you briefly. Number 1, dismantling nuclear capabilities. He might talk Iran into conning them like that and saying, no, leave the facilities alone. We just won't process it. Yeah, that's a lie, probably. 2, permanently renounce nuclear weapons. Yeah, they're probably never going to do that. They might do it, but they're going to keep their refineries and say it's civil, 3, no uranium enrichment inside of Iran. They'll say no, and they'll say they'll do moderate enrichment and then lie about it. 4, hand over enriched uranium. That won't happen. 5, shut down key nuclear sites. They might temporarily shut them down. 6, full inspection by IEAA. Yeah, they'll agree with that and then break it. 8, stop funding and arming groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. They might lie about that, but I don't think they will. Keep the Strait of Hormuz open. Well, they are insisting that they want to be the only ones controlling the Strait of Hormuz. This is pretty far away from being a deal, Limit ballistic missile program. Well, they might agree to it and then breach it, Restrict missiles use to self-defense. Making deals like that with Iran shows that, you're a dreamer. That's not true. You can't rely on them. Full lifting of international sanctions. Okay, so there's no more sanctions on Iran in return for this. Help with civilian nuclear energy power generation. They might like that. That means they'll give them some nuclear material. They won't let them make it. That's what that means. removal of snapback sanctions, and that's 14. And we're not, the media and everybody's not completely sure what the 15th is, and they believe it to be a temporary ceasefire that should last about a month. Now, Trump wants a temporary ceasefire. He wants to buy a month for the Pentagon. The Pentagon wants it. So if Trump is really doing this, why is he keeping it secret who he's negotiating with? Because the people he's negotiating with might be the ones he's hoping and wishing to put in charge. And he doesn't want to reveal who they are because the Iranians will then, designate 15,000 people to go kill them. That's the only good reason. And could that be what this is all about? It could. And then Trump's going to make a 15-point plan with them who are not in power. So Trump's going to stop attacking, Israel will stop attacking, and Iran will keep attacking. See what kind of idiocy we're dealing with here? Are you aware of this? How crazy this is getting? This guy is so scared, this Trump, so scared. If they don't destroy the country of Iran and make it unlivable, the only chance they got is to keep attacking whatever they can attack and wait for Iran to run out of missiles. And we don't know how long that could be. This is March. They might not run out of missiles till September. We don't know. The oil is going into short supply. Nothing's moving out of the Straits of Hormuz. There's over 3,000 boats stuck there. The guys on the boats aren't getting water and food. I don't know what they're doing about that. They're going to give humanitarian aid to 3,000 boats. Well, each boat probably has less than 25 people on it. So it's not a colossal thing. They run over there with some big ship with food and water, and they haul it up into the boat, and they give them enough for 3 days, and they go twice a week or something like that. I mean, it could be done. Okay? The boats might have desalinization. They probably do, which means they can take showers, they can flush toilets, they can drink water. So now comes food. They're just hurting for food. So they bring K-Rats over there. The whole thing looks stupid to me. It makes me think that Trump and Netanyahu are really in over their heads. More so Trump than Netanyahu. Oh boy, huh? All right, let me take a look at the live stream. So remember, but before we get there, there's no official published document on this 15 points. Remember that. This was a speculative put together from people in the know based on other people leaking to them, so to speak. So news outlets pieced this thing together that I gave you. And Iran is consistently stating that these talks are fake. They don't exist, and Trump is doing it to suppress oil prices and drive them down. LNG too, I suppose. And they're saying that, and they're trying to run the oil up to 200. And they're saying Trump is just lying about this to drive oil prices down. And that could very, very well be the whole thing. Just to drop prices. This is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. And this is just the beginning of a lot of bad stuff for a lot of countries because it's payback, recompenses. All right, let's see if I got any questions or comments in the live stream. People seemingly don't like me covering the war because the offerings drop off a cliff as they have in the last few days. I don't know what's going on. Somebody, I think, is saying gas in Canada is $1. Well, Canada's a rather large gas producer, oil, so yeah, they could keep their prices low, I suppose. Um, so what is Trump gonna do Friday? That's the question, huh? He's capable of just ignoring this and proceeding. Oh, let me see. Somebody's saying something here. I've been in Ukraine over the past 4 years as a rapid response medic and instructor. I've been under multiple UAV and missile attacks. Shelter is a big thing in the urban areas. Yeah, we have 2 bomb shelters in our house. Well, one's on the property and one is attached to the house. I've been through a lot of war here. I've been here many years. No, he comes back, but first the false one shows up. But before the false one shows up, you get Zechariah 12 and Malachi 3 and 4. They don't teach that. in the study Bibles, but read it. Zechariah 12. We're almost in fulfillment there. Then you see the two witnesses burning the enemies up that are surrounding Israel. And then you see the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds, and the people get everlasting life. Read that. Read Zechariah 12, that chapter, and Malachi 3 and 4. That comes way before your Gog and Magog, Ezekiel 38, 39. Gavin Newsom 2020. So I don't know about that guy. He's a governor. I don't get into following that stuff. I understand a lot of people don't like him, but I guess a lot of people do like him. I don't know. Trump is doing the right thing. It remains to be seen. Trump is probably going to destroy Iran with other countries. That's the prophecy in Jeremiah 49, beginning in verse 34. It's called Elam. Elam consists of Iran, Iraq, and maybe pieces of Syria, and that would encompass the countries that didn't have names back then because they didn't exist, which is Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Oman. So they would be in there too. And they're getting destroyed, as you see. Their airports are closed, they're not getting shipments, people are running away from these countries. It says that people will leave Elam and scatter into every nation of the world, other than Israel, where the sword will follow them and they will be cut off. That's an unfulfilled prophecy, and it will get fulfilled. And I believe we're right in the fulfillment of it right now. And these people all hate Israel. They don't want to see God fulfill his covenant in Genesis 15 to give us the land from the Euphrates to the Nile. They're squatting on our land, pumping our oil, buying Rolls Royces and spraying them with gold vermeil to, and crap like that, living in 100,000 square foot houses. It's our land and our oil, the bums. And they're all in a conspiracy, Trump too, to make believe that's not our land and we don't get it. Is Trump telling us, hey, we finished Gaza, you move in over there, Netanyahu, take the land back. You need cheap housing for your people. Let them move in there. Shove the Gaza people out. If they don't want to take an oath to Israel and be good citizens, get a job and work and pay taxes, push them in the ocean, throw them out. I don't care what you do with them. Oh no, keep them there. It's their land, Trump, Netanyahu, and then I'm going to build Trump casino resorts over there with my friends, and we're going to make ourselves a fortune, and we'll keep the Gazans off on the side over there behind some 40-foot concrete walls, so nobody has to look at them, and they can work. What can they do? Well, they can go to the casino resorts, and they can be dishwashers, pick up garbage. They could work on the lawn. They could work in the laundry. They could paint. They could be cleaners. They could, what do you think? That menial work, right? That's what he'll do. They're not going to probably let them near the customers because they have a language barrier and stuff. But and then, is this ever going to happen in Gaza? Absolutely not. A lot of the people in Gaza are going to go kaput, and some of them are going to convert to Yeshua. That's in the prophecies, and they'll be nice people to live with. A lot of them probably Israelites and don't even know it because many generations ago their families were forced into conversion or die or something like that. So, yeah, they'll come back. Okay. So what do we do at this point? Well, the only thing we could do at this point is watch and wait. It's Wednesday. Friday's not far off. The fifth day's up on Friday. So let's say Saturday. Let's push it over to the next day. See what Trump does. He might turn around and say, oh, I'm not doing nothing right now because negotiations look good and we're going to have a peace deal. Likely what he'll say, and it'll be the same lie that we got now. Who the heck is he negotiating with, and blah, blah, blah. And that's just to buy time that the Pentagon needs. And then when it comes necessary, he turns around and says, well, we don't have a deal. Boom, let's go attack him. What has Trump got to do? Well, he can't. He doesn't want to destroy the country because he wants the oil. Look, Trump's the kind of guy, if he was walking down a park at night, and a thief jumped out of the bushes with a gun and says, your money or your life, Trump would sit there and say, okay, let me think. Give me a couple of minutes to think about it. That's Trump, okay? Trump thinks that if you die rich, you win. Trump has no fear of God. Trump does not serve God. Trump lies like a rug. You've seen him lie like crazy. I mean, Trump's not a man of God. Trump's the little old woman who lived in a shoe and didn't know what to do. The shoe's the White House. He don't know what to do. Don't think he really knows what to do. He's trying stuff, and it ain't working. He don't know what to do. He's trying stuff. Netanyahu apparently got duped also. They both thought they could get the missile cities. They can't. They can't do it. They can't knock the missile cities out. Trump's probably got something he's going to try. Maybe it'll work. But he needs a lot of them. Maybe in a month he could generate 100 of these big bombs. Maybe they can. They work 3 shifts, 7 days a week. I don't know. Maybe they can. And maybe he'd put some money into it, and then what happens? Well, I expect if he sends 10 or 12 of these bombs into a fortified, there's going to be significant damage, and the site's not going to function well or at all. So then he's in a position to take over CART, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think what he's going to resort to is realizing the oil is a lost cause. And then he's going to push on the infrastructure in Iran, and they're going to attack the infrastructure of Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and they might take Jordan out. And they're going to go after the desalination plants, but they might not have to because they're also going after the grid in these countries, the electric generators. And they said they're going to make damage to these electric generators that's going to be very difficult to fix. Long time fix. So when you take the electric grid off in these little countries, you may very well cut down the desalinators. They may have generators there for, a few days, and then they're going to be out of fuel for the generators, and that's all she wrote. And then they're going to rapidly have to leave the country. They are part of Elam. So God's basically getting them out of our land for us. Thank you, Father God Jehovah. This is recompenses. They're getting it. There's a scriptures referencing Jordan. God says, what, Israel has no heirs? In other words, it's our land, and you make them believe that it's your land. Then they lie. Oh, this is Arab land. It's not. It's given to us right there in Genesis 15. Oh, we don't believe that. We believe in the Quran. Well, you know what? Then you go and ask the God of the Quran to help you. But meanwhile, the God of the Bible is going to help us. And the God of the Quran ain't no God. What the heck's he going to do? Lie to you? That's all he's going to do. Oh, don't worry. It'll be all right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, listen, what did King David say about his enemies? Let Satan stand at his right hand. In other words, Satan is such a piece of garbage. He destroys the people that worship him and love him. I'm not kidding about this. He does. He destroys them. He burns them. They're disposable assets. You know, that's it. He just gets rid of them. He uses them and gets rid of them. If he could keep himself out of the pit for 1 minute, he would destroy 10 million people for an extra minute. He doesn't care. He's a sick idiot that got thrown out of heaven along with a third of the angels, and they don't have that power anymore like they used to have. They're spirits, and they got some things going in that direction, but did you ever see Satan throw a fireball at somebody or call hail down on them or hit them with lightning? Never. He don't have any power. He's a punk. A two-bit hustler. That's all he is. He's a two-bit hustler, and the same with his other jackasses. You got greater power over them. You can tread over all the power of the enemy. Yeah, let me read it to you. You want to believe your Bible? You got it. If you don't, I can't help you. Before I do that, I want to take a 1-minute break, and we'll get into that spiritual warfare quickly. I'll be right back. Now, this is coming straight out of your Bible. So if you want to reject it, you're not rejecting me, you're rejecting your Bible. Let's do the easy one first, which is Mark 16. There's a lot of scriptures, but I'm going to keep it streamlined. Mark 16, verse 17. And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. Now, if you go to a church that doesn't believe this and walk in it, you are in a non-Bible believing church. Why do I say that? And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. You want to go to a church like that, you should go to the Red Cross after church and take swimming lessons See, it might help you in the lake of fire. Of course, you're not in a Bible believing church. You don't like me because I'm crude and harsh. Tough. Better I get you upset now and you don't go to the lake of fire than I'm nice to you and you wind up in the lake of fire. It also says, they shall speak with new tongues. That's part of it too. Baptism of the Holy Spirit as evidenced by speaking in tongues. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. Now, drink is imbibe or take in. I would think it applies to food too. If you were poisoned via food or drink, it would apply. I believe, and from my personal experiences, I'm sad to say it happened to me, and I didn't have any. But that's another story. My first wife, not my current wife, was a witch. I was a young new believer, and I married a witch. What a miserable life that was while it lasted. Okay, then she got rid of me, divorced me. Thank God. It shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Now, that's all the stuff you're supposed to do as a believer. And if your church ain't doing this stuff, you're in a non-Bible believing church. Take up serpents doesn't mean you run around and get into a church on a dirt road in the mountains someplace where they run around holding rattlesnakes in the church. That's idiots. Okay? That's idiots. What about holding leopards? You go to a church in Africa and grab a leopard and run around with him and see what he does to you. Man, baby leopards are so cute. You got no words for them. Baby cheetahs are so cute. Baby lions are cute. But the spotted ones, the jaguars, oh, they're so cute. I went to this nature park once many years ago, and they had, what do they think they were, cheetahs, baby cheetahs or leopards or something, and they let you run over there and pet them. I still remember, I love animals, and I love those little guys. They're so cute. But when they grow up, I mean, they'll be your friend, but they're still wild. They can lose their temper and take a shot at you. They can, they'll play with you, and they're not going to understand. They're going to play rough, you know. Yeah. But anyway, okay. So now we go to Luke 10. It's either verse 12 or verse 17. We'll figure it out. We'll try 12. Nope. Let's try dropping down to 17 or so. Yeah, it's 17. Okay, here we go. And the 70 returned again. Yes, Yeshua had the 70 like Moses and Aaron did, with joy. So, with joy. So, remember, if you're going to start going onto a path of demon tossing, what's going to happen to you is you're going to get a lot of something. Joy, joy. Take that one to the bank. It'll happen. Joy. And the joy is habit forming, and you want to keep doing it more and more. So once you start tossing demons, it becomes a great pastime, and it brings much joy and peace and bolsters your faith, and you want to keep doing it more and more. And you know what? That's a good thing. Okay. And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, this is why they had the joy. Lord, even the devils are subject unto us. Subject means they're under us. They got to listen to us. It's deeper, as you'll soon see, and more than just get out of this person. Okay? Though through thy name. So they're subject unto us through thy name, through the name of Yeshua. And he said unto them, I say Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua the anointed, And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So Satan already got thrown out. Okay? They church people lie to you. Oh, it didn't happen yet. He's still in heaven. Bull crap. He's busted out. Behold, I give unto you power to tread. Okay, tread. What does a tank tread do? It walks on the ground for the tank, right? The tread transports the tank and touches the ground, right? What do your feet do for you? Well, they're your tread. They transport you and they touch the ground, right? Okay, so when it says to tread on serpents and scorpions, it's talking about walking on them. Serpents and scorpions are the false believers, the witches, these kind of people, the ones that serve Satan. It also would apply to when the beast comes out of the pit, which hasn't happened yet, and you got all that smoke. The locusts come up, funny locusts, and some of them have a tail like a scorpion, and some of them have a tail like a serpent, but they don't hurt you. They won't hurt you. Over and over, so you will tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. Whatever they can do, you can walk on it, tread on it, put your foot on it. Subject unto you. Okay? So can you break all the spells, enchantments, and witchcraft and sorcery? Sure. Can you command them to not come into your house? Sure. Command them to not come into your car? Yeah. Command them to not observe you? Yeah. Command them to not listen to your prayers or demon tossing. Well, you can't do demon tossing, but you can say their prayers. Yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff. Command them to come out of some person and all the demons never to go back in that person for a month or a year or something like that, or no demons in this person's house ever again. When a person has a demon thrown out of him, the demon goes to the place where demons go, the dry places, stays there a while, and then comes back with 7 more. And if that person is sinning, the first one plus 7, that's a total of 8, go in him. Okay? Now, you're probably not going to be able to stop that for very long because that's the way it is. But could you stop them from doing other things? Yeah. You could say nobody with a demon could come into that person's house. And if they want to come into the house, the demon has to go out before they come in the house because no demon's allowed in there. It would be too painful for them to go in there. Set that command up. See how they like that. But okay, I'm going on and on. And nothing shall by any means hurt you. So they don't come back and hurt you. Now, that being said, if you working for a witch and you demon toss them and they fire you from the job, that they can do. The people can do something like that. But that's their right to do it. But they're not going to be able to go and harm you, like pick up a brick and hit you in the head. I don't believe God will let them do that. Notwithstanding in this, rejoice, not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. I mean, where's the book of life? It's in heaven. So that's what you do. Let's use this and make some trouble for Satan right now. Why not? Right? B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, I command all you unclean spirits to immediately depart from any person in the nation of Iran or Lebanon who was working against Israel in any way, shape, or form, violently or otherwise. I command you, unclean spirits, to depart from all these people and everyone who lives in the same house as these people. Never return unto them again for the next forever. And then I command all you unclean spirits for the next year not to appear to any of these people, nor guide them, lead them, direct them, help them, assist them, give them advice, using any means at your disposal, people or unclean spirits, for 1 year continuously, beginning now, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. That's all. And I further command you, unclean spirits, not to be in any government-owned facility or facility owned, operated, or controlled by Hezbollah in Lebanon, or anything owned by Hezbollah or Hamas or Iran in Iraq or Syria, and anything owned by the Iranian government in Iran. Your unclean spirits shall come out from any person in such facilities now and never return unto them again. And for the next year, you shall not be able to be inside a person in any of these facilities. When a person goes into these facilities, you must depart from them immediately before they get in, or you will have tremendous suffering that you will not be able to tolerate, and you will have to come out. And these commands are set in place irrevocably, beginning now for 1 year continuously. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and my Heavenly Father, I pray you would activate and make these bindings and loosings come to pass. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And you believers can use the keys to the kingdom and agree with me on this stuff and make it even stronger. Okay? Get involved. Get in the fight. It's a good fight. There's nothing wrong with prayer warfare. But if that's all God wanted us to do, he never would have said, these signs shall follow those that believe in my name. They shall cast out devils. You shall tread over serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. Why would he have said all of that if all he wanted you to do was pray? Don't get deceived by people that tell you they're men of God and they don't follow the Bible. Where's the conviction? Why don't they get convicted and then start following the Bible? Because something's wrong, that's why. You don't sit under people that are wrong. That's a bad idea. Very, very bad idea. Something's not right. I don't know. All right. So anyway, things look okay. Let me check. Yeah, things seem okay. All right. I'll get a prayer out for us. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, I pray for me and my wife and all the true believers that we would have your strength, stamina, endurance. Your healing and recuperative power would flow through us, and us and our animals and pets would be safe and secure and happy, healthy, and whole. We'd have adequate finances and then some. We would if we need a job, we would find a good job. If we need clients and customers for our business, we find those too. I pray we have good health, and I pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I pray that we know the scriptures better, and I pray that I do better videos. And I submit this to you, my Heavenly Father, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you can agree with that. And B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, my Heavenly Father, I loose from all the true believers in their households any witchcraft or sorcery put on them and their household and their family and everything they own, possess, or control and set the hand to. All such witchcraft and sorcery and spells or whatever is cast null and void for all time. No value, no effect forever. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And I'm out, guys. Thanks. I hope you got something out of this. I'll be updating the Telegram with the war, and if things change weirdly, I will update with live streams. We're trying to get some supplements and stuff, deliveries into Israel, and they're getting all blocked up and stuff. So please pray we can get deliveries in Israel promptly. I know I keep asking for that, but please keep praying. I think we'll get a breakthrough. Okay, guys, I'm out. Thanks.